What if I told you the biggest road trip mistake most people make isn't forgetting snacks, it's trusting a bad cooler? Seriously, you pack drinks, sandwiches, maybe some meal prep for the drive, and everything feels organized. Until 6 hours later, when your ice turns into soup, your food gets soggy, and now your refreshing cold drink tastes like disappointment. And here's the crazy part. Most people solve this by buying those giant hard coolers that take up half the trunk and feel like lifting gym equipment every time you move them. That's exactly why this video exists. I went through some of the most popular soft coolers on Amazon, from backpack coolers to collapsible giants to compact lunch-style options, to figure out which ones are actually worth your money for road trips, beach days, camping weekends, grocery runs, and everyday travel. And trust me, a few of these sound amazing on paper, but have some frustrating flaws once you actually use them. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which cooler fits your lifestyle and which ones you should skip. And yeah, links are in the description if you want to check pricing or availability after the video. Let's jump in. First, quick context. The biggest things that matter in a road trip cooler are simple: ice retention, portability, leak protection, storage space, and how annoying or convenient it is to actually use. Because nobody cares if a cooler keeps ice for 2 days if it's miserable to carry. And nobody wants amazing portability if everything leaks into your car. So with that out of the way, let's start with number 6. At number 6, we have the Titan by Arctic Zone Deep Freeze Cooler. This cooler solves one very specific frustration that a lot of people have: zippers. And honestly, that zipperless flip-open lid is way more useful than it sounds. Imagine you're on a road trip. You stop for gas. You want to grab a drink quickly without fighting with a stubborn zipper while standing in a parking lot. You just flip the lid open, grab what you need, and move on. That convenience feels great. And the smart shelf inside is another underrated feature because it keeps your sandwiches or snacks from getting crushed under heavy drinks and melting ice. That's something cheaper soft coolers completely ignore. Ice retention is also impressive here. It can push into day 2 and sometimes day 3 depending on weather and how often you open it. That's better than most soft coolers in this category. But here's the catch. That zipperless design also creates its biggest weakness. Tip this thing over in your trunk and you could be cleaning melted ice water off your car floor. That's where it loses points against fully leak-proof options later in this list. It's best for road trippers, sports parents, and campers who want quick access and better organization. Not ideal for boats or rough transport situations. Coming in at number 5 is the SPARTER Backpack Cooler. This thing is basically built for people who carry way too much stuff and somehow still need both hands free. With up to 49 cans of storage, this cooler is massive. Perfect for beach trips, tailgates, picnics, and large family outings. And the dual compartment setup makes a huge difference. Drinks and ice go on the bottom. Snacks and food go on top. Simple. That means no smashed sandwiches, no wet snacks, no digging through ice for chips. The padded shoulder straps are surprisingly comfortable too, and that matters because fully loaded, this thing gets heavy fast. Now here's where things get tricky. The capacity sounds amazing, until you realize overpacking makes it bulky. If you're walking long distances at festivals or hiking trails, that extra size can become annoying. And like many zipper coolers, long-term zipper durability is something to think about. Still, for families or big outdoor trips, it delivers serious value. At number 4 is the EVERFUN Small Cooler Lunchbox. And this one feels completely different from everything else here. This isn't for camping weekends. This isn't for giant family trips. This is for everyday life. Office workers, students, truck drivers, daily commuters. People who bring lunch every single day. The double-deck design is the standout feature. Keep drinks below, food above. Everything stays organized. And because it's compact, it fits almost anywhere. Car seats, office desks, school lockers, backpacks, ice. Retention sits around 6 to 8 hours, which is exactly what most people need for workdays. But here's the limitation. A lot of buyers make the mistake of expecting this to perform like larger coolers. That's not what it's built for. Try using this for family beach trips and you'll be disappointed immediately. But for solo use, very solid budget option. At number 3, we have the Maelstrom Collapsible Soft Cooler Bag. This thing is huge, and I mean huge. Up to 75 cans. That's enough for large families, sports teams, long beach trips, or grocery hauls. And its biggest superpower? It folds nearly flat when you're done. That sounds small, until you've dealt with bulky hard coolers taking over your garage. Storage becomes effortless. Its leak-resistant liner performs well. Ice retention can stretch through full-day events, and top access makes grabbing drinks easier than backpack coolers. But here's the downside. Once fully packed, carrying this thing becomes awkward. A lot of weight ends up pulling on one shoulder. That gets old fast. So if portability matters more than raw capacity, keep watching because number 2 solves that problem much better. At number 2, we have the MIYCOO Cooler Backpack. And this one feels like the sweet spot for active people. 40 can capacity, dual compartments, external storage pockets, comfortable straps, and way easier to carry than oversized shoulder coolers. If you bike to the beach, walk long festival distances, go hiking, or travel where mobility matters, this cooler makes a lot of sense. The outside pockets are also super practical. Phone, wallet, keys, sunscreen, utensils, everything has a place. Ice retention typically lasts 8 to 12 hours, which works for most day trips. But here's why it didn't take number 1. It sacrifices a little cooling performance compared to chest-style coolers. And if maximum ice life matters more than mobility, there's a better choice. Which brings us to number 1, the Maelstrom Soft-Sided Cooler Bag. This is the one that gets the balance right, and that's why it wins. It's available in 30 and 40 can sizes, which feels practical, not too small, not ridiculously oversized. The fully leak-proof liner is a huge win, and if you've ever had melted cooler water spill in your vehicle, you already know why that matters. It keeps items cold for around 10 to 16 hours, perfect for road trips, fishing trips, beach days, picnics, weekend drives. And unlike hard coolers, it collapses when you're done. That's huge if trunk space matters. Now sure, you don't get Titan's rigid structure, and you don't get MIYCOO's backpack mobility, but for most people, this delivers the best overall balance of convenience, performance, portability, and price. And this is where people usually waste money. They overspend on giant premium coolers they barely use, or they go super cheap and regret it after one trip. Only a few coolers in this category actually hit that sweet spot between portability and real performance, and these were the ones that stood out. So here are the final picks. Best overall, Maelstrom Soft-Sided Cooler Bag. Best for maximum storage, Maelstrom 75 can collapsible model. Best for hiking and mobility, MIYCOO Backpack Cooler. Best for massive backpack storage, SPARTER Cooler Backpack. Best for quick access convenience, Arctic Zone Titan. Best personal cooler, EVERFUN Lunch Cooler. Before you buy anything, check the links in the description because prices change constantly, and some of these get discounted pretty heavily. And if this video helped you avoid buying the wrong cooler, hit like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.